Hello and welcome back to New York Outcast. I'm here doing a little impromptu show for Rick. If you're not familiar, Rick's Life as I See It. He usually does his show today at 3 o'clock. I'm a bit late. I just got notice not too long ago that he wasn't going to be doing a show, so figured I'd jump in and try to do a little quick fill in. Sent a few links out if anybody's available to hop on in on those links. I'm not too sure how to do this live for people that pop in or how to drop one over. So bear with me. If it's just me, which it looks at maybe, I'll probably keep this short. Start by stating if you're a new subscriber of mine, thank you. I do appreciate it. Do plan on having some shooting videos shortly coming out. Just dealing with some really bad weather currently, so trying to get through that and busy with work as well. So believe it or not, work's been pretty busy in the home remodeling area. So no slowdowns with that with me anyway. So been fairly busy. But basically, if you're seeing this looking for Rick. Obviously, he's not here. I don't think he posted it. Like I said, I did this kind of last minute. But I have gotten word that Rick is doing okay. So that's a plus. Basically, he did make it through his surgery. That's why his last show was canceled. And today he was planning on doing a show, but isn't really feeling up to it. So basically, that's where I decided to pop in, kind of give a little update, see if anybody wanted to jump in at this time period. So do plan on being done before 5. I know G23 does a show at 5 that I usually hop on as a panelist. So probably be over there at that time. But Rick did make it through his surgery okay. From what I hear, nobody fed him any mac and cheese over here. So he's grumbling with family, I guess, taking care of them. So how you doing, Northeast PA? So um, basically, that's great to hear. Obviously, nowadays, people are worried about a lot of things. In my opinion, people should be more worried about your common surgeries. So when you look statistically, you're more likely to have an issue with that than even getting in an accident near your home and things like that. So it's pretty high up there. I think it's number 3 uh, death toll. I believe it is malpractice. So um, how you doing, Moo? And I am joined here by Squib. Let me pop him in here. Try to fix this screen deal. I'd much rather it's not just blowing up on me. All right. Hello, Mystic. So again, thankfully Rick made it through all right. I did hear from him, so he's there with family, taking care of them, or assisting, I should say, helping them out. So apparently their road trip made it quite well. I'm sure we'll hear all about that too in the future. So, um, oh boy, looks like Mystic's got a tornado warning. So uh, I wish you luck there. So those are never great. So I know I lived through one that I was sleeping in a camper and trees were parted and everything. And apparently the main of it just missed me. So people were yelling and screaming. I had no idea. Woke up just kind of shaking and rolling. And by the time I came out, yeah, squinting outside, people were screaming, and you could see the damage to the trees. So pretty crazy. Wish you luck there, Mystic. But yeah, Squib, how you doing today?
Doing all right, doing all right. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Get my volume over here. Can barely hear you. I think you're fine. Just the PC was down. So you working today?
Nah, I'm at home, thankfully.
Cool. So I'm sure that's a good thing with the thankfully. So not upset about overtime.
I'll work it. I don't turn it down. I don't look a way to better myself. I don't, turn that away. But just sometimes it's nice to have a day off. So if they had us on voluntary or mandatory overtime, I'd be there.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. For the longest, I worked for a company where weekends were cash. So, when you got child support and everything getting taken out of your check and New York taxes, that turned out to be a problem with the lady because I was always working weekends. So, at times, sometimes with bonuses, things like that, if you can get it finished on the weekend, you got a bonus too. Shoot, I worked longer days over the weekends than I did all week, and eventually that turned into be an issue. Kind of got the speech about, I'm not just in this to sit around by myself and blah 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 and all that stuff. So, but different time in life. So, hello everybody that's joining us. Wood State, I do plan on being out of here before 5 G23, at least 5 my area, East Coast. So that's when you start for me. Nighthawks out there, Midnight Range. We got Gun Loving Grandpa, Mystic Guns, Ozark Yeoman, Northeast PA, Gun Talk, Moo. There, he's trying to stay warm. But so I used to be a what they call a workaholic, which turned out to be, like I said, issues for me. So even to this day, I usually don't turn down work unless I think it's one of them crazy customers because they are out there. It's rare I bump into them, but I've met a couple that it's just when people start telling you nobody wants to do the job and all this and that, it's a good kind of flag. Not saying it's a problem, but a lot of the times it's not the job, it's the individual for some reason. People are a little sketchy of, especially other companies going out of pocket big money and hoping they're going to get paid in the end without a hassle and going through issues. So I'm sure there's complaints on both sides of that issue in a sense, but I don't know. I've met some weird people when you deal with the public, so. Let's see, trying to check these comments. How you doing, Medic? Yeah, thumbs up if you like, so.
Look at all these names flooding in here.
Yeah, it's cool. How you doing, Buck? Good to see you. If I didn't say hi, so Patriot, good to see you, man. So it's going. Doing a little fill-in show for Rick here for Rick's Life as I See It. Again, he's doing well. He pulled through. They didn't kill him on the table or nothing.
What he was saying was that last time they cut through his muscle. This time they just spread the muscle apart, and then I guess R&R'd the joint or bone or whatever, and then push the muscle back together. So I guess that makes it easier, a faster recovery time, because when you slice through muscle, it's a lot of work for the body to heal that up. So it's same procedures he got last time, just different way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% up. I think I missed the last show because of work, and I caught part of. I don't know. I'm off a little bit with him in a sense, a show or two due to work. So I caught part of it and watched the replays and things. So, but yeah, I heard it was similar to the last one. So I was shocked that you're saying that they're doing it a little different. So if so, you would think he would be in better shape because I believe he based his estimate on his experience last time. So, but today, like you said, he, not only was he not feeling great, I guess, but he also had family, up his butt, I guess you could say. Not in a bad way, but he's not. His normal stuff is different today. So basically, I think that's part of it as well. So.
Well, part of the reason he moved to Indiana was to be around family. So now they're around. Has anybody sent Rick a salad yet? No, I don't think so. But I mean, we could send him a nice antipasto, and maybe for dressing, he could use lemon juice.
Yeah, that would be cool if Rick's listening and his family's out there. Rick loves salad. And you throw a little mac and cheese on there. My thing's blocking it, but yeah, he'll be in love with that. It's good to hear the storm pass, Mystic, or most of it, hopefully. And I've emailed Rick. He actually sent me an email. That's why I did the show the way I'm doing it under the title. The first time, I'll be honest, I never heard anything from Rick. I don't know if he watched the show or what. I was thinking he might have been upset. I don't want him thinking I'm stepping on his toes or anything. As I stated in that one, it's kind of a win-win because in a way we're talking about him as advertisement, and it gives me a little bit of wheel time as far as a live show. So
did you get served with papers for copyright infringement?
No, not yet.
Then he's good with it.
I don't answer the door for anybody official looking anyway, though, so you never know. But yeah, no, he didn't say nothing, so I wasn't sure if he was upset or what. But he actually in his email to me said if I wanted to do a show, go ahead. So I wasn't planning on it, and then figured out what the hell. Haven't done anything in a while, so I try something real quick. So, and I knew I was limited on time, so yeah, kind of helps a little bit knowing that I've only got to dive in for so long. So, and here I am. I don't know if you guys caught the thumbnail there, but I kind of memed that myself, I guess you could say. Stole the picture, but I actually wrote the words. So if you thought it was funny, you're welcome. And if you can't see it, my apologies. But thank you.
Welcome.
One second. All right, I'm back. Got a coffee delivery from a lovely lady. Woo! Gotta love that.
Now, see, a macaroni salad that might do the trick, though. I mean, but how do you make that macaroni salad, I guess, more healthy without putting all that fake plasticky diet food in there?
I don't know. I'm not a big macaroni salad guy. I like my mom's, and everybody else's just doesn't match up. It gets close, but it just doesn't match up. It's way too runny and like soup. I see some of these ones you buy at the store where it's like you just tip it around and it's just rolling around in there, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, not for me. I think my mom adds like pickle juice, diced pickles, celery, something.
How about green onion?
I'm not sure, but I'm spoiled with that. I was just talking the other day. I missed my dad's Spanish rice yesterday. Like that's gone now. There was a time I ate it so much, you couldn't pay me to touch it. But as growing up as an adult or whatever, and I'm kind of craving it, but it's gone with them, unfortunately. So I got to get my mom's macaroni salad recipe ASAP, so I don't get double screwed.
So Midnight Range is saying Amish macaroni salad. Okay, I'll give it a try if I'm ever in Amish country, I guess.
Afternoon, Grim. Yeah, I'm not sure. I like the Amish potato salad. Um, and that, what do you call it? Like deviled egg potato salad, even bread skin. Like, I'm not as picky with, as long as it doesn't look like soup. I'm not that bad about potato salad. Macaroni salad, I don't know. Everybody's always got the best, and it ain't nothing like my mom's. And I know, I'm biased, but it's just good. But yeah, glad again Rick made it out. He survived medical malpractice. To my knowledge, they didn't leave any tools in him, and since he kind of told everybody where it was, I paid the doctor, to slip a little something extra in there. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'll check on the next show. I'll give a call and see if it's vibrating in his leg.
He did say with all these artificial parts, he's going to become bionic.
Yeah. Yeah, he might be. We'll see. Told him $20, but I don't know how it worked out. I might have just got hustled by the people over there at the hospital, but we'll see. Figured we'd get a joke. But yeah, I seen Caliber Corner this morning. I don't know if people are aware, but Travis P11 does Caliber Corner in the mornings, and in the morning on Saturday. Too early for me usually. If I'm lucky, I catch the end or whatever. I missed it today, but seeing it was all about 22s had me kind of thinking about 22s myself. And sucks I always miss it because there's always something I'd love to get in on. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say. I love 22, so but heard you earlier on it talking about not being able to get parts and stuff for yours. Do you have anything modern? Any modern 22s?
Yeah, but I got one years ago that the only thing I've ever seen for sale for it are spare mags. So you lose a pin, break a spring, something like that. I've had trouble with the company trying to source parts. They've got a parts diagram, they've got a parts list. So this morning while I was on the show, I did a copy paste of a part number on their list and sent to customer service to see if they'll come back to me and give me something better than you need to go through a distributor, which means more or less nothing. So my thing is, I'd like to be able to go out and shoot it if I want to, but I'm leery of doing it because if I lose something, when I clean it or I start wearing things, I mean, it's going to take, it's not like I just, every time I take apart a gun, I'm just throwing parts everywhere, but you never know. And it'd take a lot of shooting to wear this thing out. I mean, it's probably only got a couple hundred rounds through it. It's just been sitting in the back of the safe. But I really don't shoot a lot of 22 to begin with. I think it's a good idea for everybody to have at least one 22, especially for like when you're taking new shooters out to the range and stuff. But some of the rationale behind it, like the price or the availability, well, right now that's a non-issue. It's not as available. It's not as inexpensive. And that's been off and on. Like in 2012, before Sandy Hook, you couldn't find 22 for like a year. I mean, it was really hard to find and it was really overpriced, and it's gone up and down in price. It's gone, in and out as far as availability. Tons of companies making versions of their guns, their centerfire guns in 22, and then nobody can get ammo for it. This has happened over and over again since 2012. And for me, that's, to say, well, it's less expensive to shoot or it's easier to get the ammunition. I'm there, going, no, not really. And then in the past, I've looked at conversion kits, and for the cost of a conversion kit, you can get a gun chambered in 22, in my experience. So why not just have two guns? But, to each their own. If somebody really wants that conversion kit, like they were saying, manual of arms or something like that, okay, yeah, I can get that. Or it might be $50 less, or maybe where they're at, 22 is still readily available and inexpensive, or they've been stockpiling 22 for the past 20 years. So it's not, they've got more of that than they've got, say, 9mm or 5.56 or something. So there are legitimate reasons. And that's what I was kind of stretching for in the show. Was I wasn't trying to criticize anybody else's choices. I just couldn't rationalize it. I haven't been able to rationalize it other than it makes a good training aid and I can use it for squirrel hunting. Otherwise, it's just kind of a meh thing for me. But there's nothing wrong with 22.
What type of gun did you have there again?
The one that I want to get spare parts for before I just take it out all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a GSG STG 44 in 22 long rifle.
Okay. Nighthawk Medic was asking, so figure I'd throw that out there. I almost bought one of those a long time ago. It was a knockoff. It looked like something else, had like a built-in suppressor, which was all fake, New York legal crap or whatever. But the damn mags were a bit of money, and they wanted a lot of money for it. I almost bought it just because it looked cool as hell. That's to be honest. I'm glad I didn't, but at the time, just because of the money, you know what I mean? I could have got something similar, probably better deal or something, or whatever the case. I don't even know if they have warranties or anything, but and I've also looked at their 1911 style handguns, I believe, but never purchased one. I'm told they're good though, so I don't know. I haven't had much issue, or I don't have any experience with them other than almost buying one and considered them with the 1911s as well. So, but yeah, I personally, I love 22, man. Again, like you stated, almost like it would be in every home. If you're a gun owner, you should have a 22 kind of thing. And my opinion is, I just think it's great for young shooters to old shooters, and in between to broke shooters. It's just fun to play with when you just have those times where you want to kick around and have a good time or run into buddies on the range. It's nice to be able to shoot 22 all day and bullshit, or weekend camping trip, whatever, and not feel it in your pockets like you do with other rounds. I know, effective wise, this or that, obviously there's debates on that and everything. Obviously it's not going to be as effective as some other calibers, especially a certain range, accuracy, all that type of stuff. But I have taken shots, long shots, where you got, let's see, close to 21 inches of drop at just over 300 yards with 22s, and done all types of stupid stuff that people say, you can't do, whatever. You can have fun with them and they're cheap enough to do so. So kind of like golf for men. I don't know. That's probably an insult in some way, but I don't know. You can have different fun with it or whatever and do different things. So I think a 22 is great. And honestly, I wouldn't want to get shot with a 22. Like, especially, I think getting shot with a higher caliber might be more survivable in some cases than a 22. Not every case. I know people are going to freak out about that probably, but in some cases, I think it could be worse just because of the fact that it's not going to penetrate as well, like direct headshots in some cases. I don't know. That's probably wrong right there, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to get hit with a 22 and slowly suffer and bleed out. I'd rather die quick, if that makes any sense. So, but so I could see people using them, grandma or something like that. I mean, it is better than nothing. In my opinion, they are reliable enough nowadays if you get something decent. It's just, is it recommended? If you can do something better, should you? Definitely. But if it's all you can handle, I mean, it's better than a cell phone. So, and I damn sure don't want to get shot with it. So, and with that, you're more likely to get shot a hell of a lot more too. In my opinion, I think somebody might take 2-3 shots at you with a normal caliber. With a 22, they're probably going to unload whatever they're working with.
Well, when I think of 22, I don't think of it as a self-defense round. I'm not saying you can't use it that way. You can. You can. It's that's not the point. And like you were saying there, when if elderly and hand strength and that sort of thing becomes an issue, this light gun with no kick, not a lot of noise, not a lot. I mean, that may be where I am one day. Who knows? But I look at it as a training or small game hunting round, target shooting kind of round. I just don't. If you said, all right, out of all the guns in your house, for home defense, what are you going to keep near the bed? I'm 22. I'll have my black powder revolver next to my bed before I have my 22.
Yeah, I'd feel fine with it, honestly. I carried my M&P Compact for a little while just as a backup, but just to honestly test the holster, see if I liked it, does it feel right, and I would honestly feel confident with it that I'm a decent enough shot that I think out of 10 rounds, not, it can do the job. I don't know how to put it, but obviously I'd like more rounds, but I'm in New York State, so but I think even with that, with the recoil like a cap gun and so quick on target, I mean, I'd almost be more scared than somebody standing with a 45 if I'm crossing a bedroom at them or something because of the recoil. You might get 2-3 shots and versus emptying a magazine in some cases. So again, that's probably an extreme. Somebody's going to be like, he's crazy, and I probably am. But either way, it definitely seems quicker on target with a smaller caliber like that. So it's almost like you're playing a video game or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Not saying it's an end all or anything like that, like I said, but I would trust it. I know people might say that's stupid, but I would trust it. So, and worst come to worst, you do get a dud, rack that baby out and run with it. I mean, at that point you're manhandling the hell out of it. So, if that don't work, then beat them to death with your gun. I don't know. But most of my 22 works, so I don't have a lot of issues that I know some people do with 22 not working well and things like that. Yeah, again, it wouldn't be first choice, but definitely think it's has a use and fun, especially kids and messing around with friends, placing bets. I know, and with my family, we've done SIM card challenges, we call them. You get a little SIM card out of an old cell phone, and we'll set it up, and take turns shooting at that with a 22 and betting like who's going to do dishes and all types of stuff. So it could be seen as lame, but we've seen it as a good time as a family. So just little things like that, and it really didn't cost anything. We all got humbled and trigger experience, and had a good time. So I guess depending on your income, of course, you could do that with higher calibers, but you're definitely, especially now, going to find 22 a lot easier and at a more affordable cost in a sense. So no problem, Ghost. Just trying to fill in here shortly. So, but what do you? I mean, do you see advantages for teaching purposes of 22, or you don't even? Or what's your take on that?
Yeah, I do. Although I will say this, the AR-15 is lightweight. It doesn't have any kick. Muzzle flash isn't too bad. Yeah, it's louder than a 22. So if you're noise sensitive, that's something that Defense had brought up. If you're noise sensitive, that might be a bit of an issue. But I think that the AR-15 and 5.56 is a good beginner firearm as well. However, like a Ruger 1022, it's a little shorter, it's a little lighter, it's a little quieter, and sometimes it can be less expensive to shoot. I haven't shot a Marlin Model 60, but a lot of people say a lot of good stuff about it. I don't doubt it. That's probably about equivalent to a 10-22. 22 caliber handguns are kind of neat. If it's a semi-auto, you could have some cycling issues depending. So that could be ammo finicky. I think they're neat, but for me, a 22 caliber handgun, with the exception of maybe some hunting, it's more of a toy. I mean, you might as well have an airsoft. I don't know. I mean, and it sounds like I'm being critical. It just 22 just doesn't really fit into what I do. For somebody else, it does. It's like a shotgun. Shotguns really don't fit in too much to what I do. There's nothing wrong with shotguns. They're multi-purpose. They do a lot, So I'm just not a very big fan of the 22. So I guess that's why I was kind of asking the questions today on the show, trying to find some justifications. But I will say, in my experience, having at least one in your collection is good for like when you bring a new shooter to the range. But and different people are different about how they handle children. I mean, I start out my kids at 5 years old with a 38 special. Some people might go, oh, well, that's too big of a gun. Or, that's too young. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to tell you how to parent your kids. You do what you want. I mean, there are some people that start off their 15-year-old on a 22 long rifle, and they're worried about that. Everybody's different. I mean, I don't agree with those people that have the first-time shooter and they give them the Desert Eagle. I mean, come on. But it's depending on the person, that gun doesn't have a lot of kick. So it's really just a matter of trying to make your shooter initially comfortable and then let them get out of their comfort zone on their own and let them kind of say, ooh, I want to try a bigger gun, or I want to try a rifle instead of a handgun, or a handgun instead of a rifle, or yeah, I'll give that shotgun a try or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think kids, and what I've noticed is other people's parents, a lot of people talk crap, basically. There's people that are into guns and people that say they're into guns, and then you get out to shoot and they're like, acting like they don't know jack shit. You can tell when they hold the gun or whatever. And it seems like a lot of people are a lot less intimidated with a 22. That's what I noticed. Like if you start off with, even a defensive shotgun or an AR or something, they're a little more intimidated by it. And I've actually seen people come out and just want to watch all day, you know what I mean? Which kind of sucks. I mean, it's good on ammo, but you kind of want them to jump in on that experience. But when you bust a 22 out and then there's a little kid doing it and everything else, then they, there's, well, I can handle that, it seems to be like a great icebreaker with new people, I think, 22. So
yes,
that I think they are probably the cream of the crop with, and then you'll see that smile usually almost every time they pull the trigger, and then you'll see that smile, and at that point they're hooked. That's usually the way it goes. So as long as they're not getting screamed at and being, there's some people that are just, let's just face it, they shouldn't drive a car. They shouldn't be around firearms, any machinery. They're just those people. And, those people should be smart enough to avoid that. But those other people that can follow basic directions and go to a range and have a good time and get through it feeling safe and enjoy themselves for the first time, they're usually hooked, in my opinion. And the 22 seems to be the way. And then a lot of times they'll jump right up. And then I've had people that jump up and then they go back down to the 22. They're grown adults, but they just like the 22. If it works for them, if it gets them more comfortable with shooting a firearm and the fundamentals of it, hey, more whatever it takes, I guess. And if it comes down to it, if I'm bringing people out, I shouldn't complain if all you want to shoot is 22, but check comments again out there. So let's see.
When 22 is normal price and you can buy it in bulk and you've got, your whole family out there, and I mean, your kids are just eating through hundreds or 1,000 rounds in an afternoon. Yeah, it doesn't it doesn't hurt the pocketbook that much, and everybody still has a good time and gets good experience and that sort of thing. But at current prices and some of the prices we've seen in the past 7 years for 22, as a reloader, it's not really that practical for me. For somebody else who is, nope, never going to reload, well, then you're coming at it from a different perspective. I'm not saying that you're wrong or I'm wrong, or it's just we have two just different perspectives. But it does have a purpose, and I learned, a long time ago to buy it when it's affordable and available. And these people that shoot up everything they own and don't ever buy any extra, I can't find anything for it. Well, what were you doing 10 years ago? So, you can get it. That's another thing too. Some of these stores are selling you the ammo if you buy the gun. They're keeping it behind the counter, but only for new sales. Well, if they limit how many boxes you buy, or you only have so much money, you might get a rifle and 100 rounds of mini mags, and that ain't going to last you very long. So it's something to be, keeping in the back of your mind is if you make this new purchase right now, thinking that, hey, it's 22, it's not that expensive, you might want to do your research first. At some point, though, I do believe that the supply will come back. We can't count on the ammunition manufacturers to run their business, the way other manufacturers do and actually meet demand and make some money. They're just going to keep putting out videos whining and complaining. But eventually, the demand will come down, the prices will come down, the availability will come back, and that 22, you can dust it off and go out there and shoot it. Just maybe this time, you'll start buying extra ammo a little at a time, and next time there's a shortage, you can be one of the ones on YouTube going, I don't have a problem.
No. Oh, definitely. Shoot, I've been collecting 22 for years and years, basically. But we legitimately shot a lot. Like for a time period, it was, weekends, almost every weekend we were getting together at a family location, and we had a whole shooting range set up. Basically did running guns up a hillside. We did competitions, balloons. I mean, we had a blast out there with everybody. And it would normally turn into a 2-day event, and we'd roll through, 500 rounds easily. A lot of times we'd be up to like 700, 750. But, you're talking about whole family plus friends and guest shooting and things like that. And it was no big deal. If you try to do that with 5.56, you're looking at some damn money. You know what I mean? Even to this day. So I've always been on 22, and then like you say, like the Sandy Hook thing was an issue, stuff like that. That was probably the first real big spike I've seen in my time in the gun world for state or whatever, is actually being into it. And thankfully I had some, and basically at that point I've pretty much always when I'd go to the store, pick up a box or two. It's pretty much how it would go, whether we got out or not. In winter's always a great way to kind of catch up, because I could lie and say, I'm just, tactically disciplined and I'm out there every week, no matter what, rain, snow, or shine, but I'd just be lying to you. So sometimes I get out a few times a week, times like this in the winter. Man, it is so cold out there. I don't even want to pump gas. I mean, can I handle that situation? Yeah, but I don't want to play in it. I'll just be honest. You know what I mean? And I do go out a few times in the winter and force myself out because, I just get stir crazy and I'm willing to deal with it. But when it's down to like 5-6 degrees and stuff, it's never really a good time. So, it's great to stay into it, but I'm just going to be honest, it's outside on the top of a mountain, it gets cold, so I don't put too much time in out there in the winter. Being your family, yeah, it's good times, man. So lake setup, boats, at least plenty of times, man. Good times out there. Kids out there trying to flip the boats, shooting ATVs, quads, playground. We built a cabin out there. It's a pretty nice place. So unfortunately, it's not mine. It's that OPP crap. So wish it was. So and then of course somebody had to go up there and have some issues and a bunch of crap happening, and now they're I don't know, different. So it had nothing to do with us, but that's the way things go, in this day and age. So don't get out that way too much, but it was a good time while it lasted. But yeah, so I don't know. Basically figured, how you doing? I'm Gabriel. Just bring up that 22, talk about that a little bit. Just because it was on the mind today. I think stocking up's a good idea. With 22, it's more affordable. And I would add, even now, if you were getting into guns or just wanting to play with guns, like you're stating, bang for the buck or whatever, I still think 22 is probably the cheapest way to go about it. The guns right now might be a little bit more, but all in all, 22 is pretty much the cheapest ammo. Yeah, now people are getting jacked for it, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than 9mm or something else right now. So it's still, you know, depending on your needs and money, might be a way to go. Um, so just point that out for people. So checking comments here. Joined by M. Gabriel. Sounds like some people showed up in my place, so if you're hearing some background noise and it's too much, let me know. I'll go out there and start screaming and throwing stuff around. Let's see. When it comes to Glocks, I have no idea, man. You'd have to Google that, Gabriel. Trying to think. I had a Glock 21, a 40 caliber, but I can't remember the weight or anything like that. No, I wasn't planning on getting a new Glock or nothing like that, but would probably take one at some point if I got a really good deal. Maybe a Gen 3 or something just to have, or newer, but have no real attraction to one. So when I had shot mine, no problems or complaints with it. It worked great. Just, yeah, personally like M&Ps. I think they're nicer. That's just me. So not only does it shoot just as well, but it looks better doing it, in my opinion. So that's just me. Plus, I like being a little different. I don't want to be in the Glock club. That's part of it. It's so, you know, in my opinion, new people when it's a safe bet for people to just get a Glock, not be original or outside the box, in my opinion, because they work. Everybody knows nobody's gonna pick on you too bad or something like that. So I just think it's a safe bet. So it might be ideal for new people, so you don't end up with one of these jalopies I hear about. So where you got to run, 500 rounds through them and replace this spring and buy that and glue this back on before it's a good working gun, because that stuff drives me nuts. Looks like Ghost has some Glock info for you. But yeah, you own a Glock, Squib?
No, it's low on the priority list. I'm going to get one eventually just to say I have one. I don't care for them. I think they're well built and they do the job, but every Glock I've shot, I have not liked. And for the most part, the people who own Glocks ruin it. You know, as far as my negative impression of Glocks really isn't the company. It isn't the asshole owner of the company that wants to make the same damn gun over and over again. And I know he's making money, so who's laughing, right? It's not how ugly it is. It's not their numbering system that makes no sense at all. It's not the fact that they've got all these different gens and all the. I mean, you could start nitpicking all of the flaws with the Glocks, even though they're well built guns. It's the owners, and that's the main reason why I don't like Glocks.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of feel the same, like it's a big club or something. But yeah, it's not I don't know. I don't like doing what everybody else is doing, but yeah, I did change my sights for night sights because I was cheap, and when I purchased this one, I got it cheap. So, well, not cheap, but ended up putting in the TFX O Pro sights, which, in my opinion, were fabulous and great for the money. Man, they glow so well at night. Like, I swear you could drop this in the grass and you'll be able to see it. It's got little windows on the top too. The sight that obviously helps you pick up. Oops, that's not my hand. That's a little hand. And basically, you can pretty much see that everywhere. But to be honest, I was more accurate with my factory sight. So, but in a gun this size, the intent for it and stuff, I kind of had a little issue because I don't like losing accuracy. I think I could, before, take shots I wasn't supposed to take with this gun. Now I'm taking shots that everybody else takes, I think. So that might sound funny or a little strange, but I don't. It's just maybe because I had it for so long. But I could just will that bullet to go where I wanted it to go before. Now I'm, minute a man, no problem. But I'm not taking those longer shots the same anymore. I think it's just due to the U notch, maybe the sights. I don't know, something. But all in all, I'm still happy with the sights and glad I chose them and wouldn't want to change back for a gun like this. So I shouldn't be expecting to get target pistol results off from a shield defensive pistol. You know what I mean? I was getting them, so that says something, but with a factory trigger. But again, it's not really what the gun's designed for, in my opinion. So I'm happy with what I got. I'll put it, I guess. Long story there.
Ozark Yellman says Gaston Glock wanted to charge $200. American marketing people told him if he charged that, Americans would assume it was junk and never buy it. For example, the High Point, right? High Point, made in America. It works. Ugly as sin, heavy, but it's got a lifetime warranty as far as I know. Those are $200 guns, and they're popular with people who just have the itch. They don't have the money, but they got the itch, so they got to buy something. Or they don't want to spend, they're cheap, they don't want to spend anything. Or they want that, American-made lifetime warranty, and it works, right? There's a lot of, hey, it might not look good, but it works. It might not be expensive, but it works. But it does kind of, when you see the price, it does kind of, make you say, all right, what's wrong with it? The thing is, though, they run, they work, and there's really nothing wrong with them. I mean, I don't own one, but I've handled them. I've shot the carbine, which I was surprised with how good it ran and whatnot. But the thing with the Glock guns is they sold them to cops cheap. So you got the purchasing agents for law enforcement that are trying to, make it work in their budget. They sell them cheap, and now they got free advertisement for life. And all these people say, well, if the cops use it or the military use it, it must be the best. And these are people who've never served a day in law enforcement or never served a day in the military who come up with this. And it sells. And if you think about it, it's brilliant strategy. And there's a plus on Glock's side. They manage the business well. A minus is all the guns are the same. They're literally the same. And people are like, why don't they make a 1911? Why don't they make a carbine? Why don't they? And they won't do it. And I hear the rumor mill is like they're just waiting for old man Gaston to kick off, so then they can start making what customers are asking for. The numbering system doesn't make any sense. It should be Glock 9, Glock 10, Glock 40, Glock 45, Glock 38 or 380. And then A should be a full size, B should be a compact, and C should be a subcompact or something like that. And all this Gen 1, Gen 5, Gen 18. And then as far as I know, the parts are not necessarily interchangeable between generations. That's a failure on Glock's part. Their numbering system sucks. The fact that they've got all these gens out there, that all is it's a mess. But then again, these guns have a lot of aftermarket support too, and I don't know if Glock gets a cut of that or not. But it's like a Harley, right? Harleys are good bikes, but people will trick them out with all kinds of stuff, and you can get damn near anything for a Harley. You might not get it for your Honda or your Suzuki or Kawasaki, but you'll get it for your Harley. Well, Glock's the same way. You can get dang near any sort of attachment or change out any part on a Glock. There's so many variations out there. You can customize it and make it yours, or anything that you don't like about it right out of the box, you can correct, for you by. So there's a lot of aftermarket support. It's if you want a handgun that you can beat the snot out of, and that parts are easy to get, and there's a lot of aftermarket support and stuff like that. I don't know how well they hold their resale value, but I mean, it fits in that sort of genre there, in the firearms industry or market or whatever you want to call it. So there are different reasons to own different products, and it just, for me, I think it's overpriced for what it does, but I get why they charge what they do. I get why they're able to get away with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they should have kept it cheaper. I mean, if that was the idea, I think it would have been. I don't know. I'm different in a sense. I would rather sell for less and sell twice as many. But other people would go the other way. And there's different plus and minuses to do that, especially when you're talking about a workforce and things like that. But in a sense, I would much rather have a household item, which they basically kind of come to anyway. But if they were a little bit cheaper like that, I mean, everybody would grab. You know what I mean? Why not? In a sense, I think, I've considered getting one just to have, in a sense, almost like you stated, in the sense of a backup gun, or say, SHTF, whatever the case, just because so many other people do. That's really it. But at the same time, that's why I don't want one either. So it's a catch-22 for me. I can see the advantage of both sides. Like I said, there was nothing wrong. I shot the gun fine. It worked every time. There was not a problem. But there is some things. I guess they don't like reloads due to the barrel. And obviously, you can change things out and do all this, but I don't have to worry about that with my M&P. You know what I mean? Like, if I wanted to shoot reloads, I could shoot reloads. Do they recommend you do from factory? No, neither does Glock or just about anybody else. But it wouldn't be a problem with the barrels. So I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just not my thing, I guess. So, but not that like I said, don't think there's a problem. I just kind of do see it as like a cult in a sense, and people are afraid to reach out. So,
well, you brought up reloads. Okay, up until recently, Glocks had unsupported chambers. For those of us who reload, you have to do an extra process, and you need extra tools to process brass that may or may not have been shot through a Glock. So when I do range pickups, if it's 9mm, 40, or 45, I've got to base size it, is what they call it, because if it was shot in a gun with an unsupported chamber, a Glock, then it could have feeding issues going through another gun. Now, base sizing stuff is not break the bank kind of stuff. You can interchange some things, and one extra step isn't going to kill me either. But it's just that that's something else you have to consider with Glocks is they create a situation for reloaders that is extra work and extra expense. And why, right? Ozark Yeoman's saying that he's almost got the Glock model numbers memorized, but I won't even try with Smith and Wesson revolvers. And I don't have a problem. The Smith and Wesson revolvers have been around for so long that I could probably tell you the caliber if you give me the number. Now, as far as their semi-autos, no, I don't get the numbering system on Smith's semi-autos. But the Glocks are all over the place. Like the Glock 20 is a 10 millimeter. I know that, right? But the Glock 45 is not a 45. I know Glock 17, 18, 19, and 20. Beyond that, I couldn't tell you what any of them are. I think a 36 is a 380. I don't know, right? The Glock 22 is not a 22.
It is strange.
It makes no sense. No sense at all.
Yeah, it is strange. It's almost a whole different language. It's like going into Starbucks and trying to order a regular coffee or something. Yeah. Oh boy. But yeah. So I guess.
But does it take Glock mags? That's the big question. Right. Everything. Does it take Glock mags? And that is another thing for Glock being your sidearm. If you've got a pistol caliber carbine that accepts Glock mags and they're both the same caliber, you've got that interchangeability. There's another. I mean, there are so many good selling points for Glock. So they have so much on their side as far as from a marketing standpoint. But some of the other stuff is just like. That's why it's low on my priority list. It's just not to mention I'd hardly ever shoot the thing. I mean, guns that are uncomfortable to me stay in the safe. So, it's just to go, oh, look at me. I've got one too.
Yeah, like I said, I think it would basically a good backup gun or something like that to have just in case, or worse come to worse, it's a decent defensive gun you could hand to somebody else in a situation that may be familiar because it is so well known for state. So, but I know one of the pluses in my area is a lot of the what I'll call no Glock signs that people have in their buildings. Have a silhouette of a Glock, and I carry an M&P. So, there's a lot of people out there who just hate Glocks and they don't want them in their buildings. But the M&P, I can walk right through, no problem.
And Defense Dad says to save yourself trouble and get an HK or a Walther. HK is overpriced for what it does, even more so than Glock is overpriced for what it does. And Walther hasn't made anything that I've even been remotely interested in since 1950 something. So yeah, that one's kind of out for me. I'm not saying either one are bad guns. Once again, they're not bad guns. It's just HK is kind of like Colt. You're paying for the name. And Walther, well, yeah.
I've looked at those P22s, the Walters.
They shoot good. They do. They shoot good.
Well, they got a lot of options. I mean, you can order those in more colors than you can get a car nowadays. Different things, and so they look pretty damn cool, but research, looking through things, I hear they're somewhat ammo sensitive. And when I compared it and stacked it up against, the M&P Compact 22, it was just, why? So obviously I was looking at that prior to the M&P Compact 22, but to be honest, but still, again, why, in a sense? It just didn't seem at the time right for me. I ended up going with something different at the time, but still, I don't know. Again, I like the M&P, so ended up getting one of those in a sense because, as some people may know that do check my videos out, that thing eats everything. So, yeah, you're limited to 10 rounds. There might be extra stuff out there or something similar, but it eats whatever you put in it. So, in my broadcast, I need that. That's what worked for me. So, I try to stick with certain ammos, but even in normal times, you don't always find the same brand sitting around, and it's a lot nicer to be able to pick just about any name brand up and know you're good, in my opinion.
Yeah, Defense Dead, I think Glocks are about $150 to $200 overpriced for what they are. Yes, I would agree with you on that. And then what's with the no Beretta silhouette? Well, that just means that day I'm not carrying my M9. I'll carry my high power instead. So.
Take it easy, Jason. Good luck at work. And the side job, probably driving him crazy by now. He hasn't done his shows lately, probably because of work. But, it ain't easy being cheesy out there. Well, I don't know. Let's see. You got a cut of the week or anything like that?
Yeah. How about a well-marinated, well-seasoned round steak?
Okay. There you go, people. I don't even know what that is, but
round steak is about the cheapest steak you can buy. You can cut it up for something else. You can cut it into strips or cube it, or you can cook it like a regular steak, or you can get them thick cut, but a lot of times they're I don't want to call them thin cut, but maybe like a regular cut. But sometimes you'll get them, they got a lot of fat around the edges, and other times they're trimmed up pretty good, and you can still get one that's over a pound. But round steak is kind of the cheapest way you can go.
Okay. Yeah, I try to avoid that stuff. I've known people that can cook anything and make it taste good, but I'm not one of them. I'll just be honest. I've seen people with that chop steak and stuff. I mean, they've made some stuff that was just fabulous. I mean, I wish I could make it, but that ain't me, unfortunately. So I tend to buy the better stuff. So, unless you're an idiot, it tastes good. Makes it a little simpler for me to cook. And thankfully, I guess that spoiled the lady. So now she pretty much does the same thing.
Now, out there in the chat, let's see here. Walter Davis, what's a fair price for a Beretta 92 mil surplus these days? Now, when you say 92 mil surplus, you must be talking about the 92S from Italy. And Ghost Tactical answers around $700. That's crazy. Those were what, $200, $250 guns that were flooding into the country. And the parts are not interchangeable with a standard 92, and it's got the hill release on the mag. If I got one, it would strictly just be as a collector for milsurps. I'm not saying I'd never shoot it, but it wouldn't be a daily carry. It wouldn't be a range toy. It would just simply be something to add to my milsurps. But the fact that it has its own special parts, and try getting parts from Italy. Good luck with that. It's got its own special parts, and that heel release, man, even $200, $250 I thought was a little pricey for one. $700, that's crazy.
Yeah, I always consider parts when looking at guns, stuff like that, especially when you're looking at, like even magazines. I want to know how much, and I don't mind paying a little more if I'm happy with the gun, but some are just crazy. Like you wouldn't think so, but they're just crazy. Some of the prices. So yeah, I think that's an important part of things is if you can get parts. I know what Jason Stewart actually just took off here, the big Beretta guy. We've talked in the past where he's been waiting on parts for like a year and a half, 2 years. Off the Beretta website themselves that are supposedly making them, but they ain't sending them out to him or something. So
that's I think it's going to be dependent on the model. I mean, I waited 6 months to get a mag from Beretta because they were shipping it from Italy. And I'm like, but you have a factory in Maryland. I know it's in Tennessee now. Okay. This was a long time ago. And they're like, yeah, but this one we don't make here. We actually make it over in Italy. So if it's coming from Europe, if it's sourced from Europe, having dealt with getting parts for new manufactured European guns and having worked for a European automotive company, I can tell you spare parts, service parts it's not a cultural thing in Europe. It's not my problem. It's just not. Whereas here in America, service parts, we actually make money off of this. This is something that you want to keep in mind when you're manufacturing a product in America. And so depending on what it is, and we were talking about that a little bit on Caliber Corner this morning about Taurus. Did it come out of Florida or Georgia? Okay, you might be able to get parts for it, or you might be able to have a warranty, return pretty quick. But if it came out of Brazil, you are going to be waiting. So it's another thing to consider when you're shopping. And sometimes, like these days, you got to take what you can get. If you're looking to get something and the price is, way above what it should be, and you're there going, well, what do I do? Do I risk the price going up or the gun not being back in stock again? Or do I just bite the bullet, so to speak? But so some purchases today, I can get why somebody might not do as much research. It's because this is the last one on the shelf, and it really doesn't matter what research I do. I'm stuck with it. But when times are better, I think it's a good idea to try to do your research before you make that purchase if you can.
Yeah. I mean, if they don't really care about selling it to them, putting parts out, it definitely makes things difficult. And again, I try to keep that in mind when I buy firearms. Medicare saying planned obsolescence or whatever isn't legit in Europe or whatever, or legal. I think that could be an issue, especially with some things, but I haven't come across really any problems with firearms that I've gotten that are U.S. made. I've had one with my 795, but honestly, a kid kind of slipped down a hill and barreled it into into the hillside. So with a plastic receiver, it didn't really, our trigger guard, it didn't really stand well. So they do sell aftermarket ones that I keep saying I'm going to get, and I've never ordered yet, that are actual aluminum. They'll add obviously a little bit of weight, but they don't crack as easily. So I did get that replaced or whatever, but other than that, I really don't tend to have many issues like as far as my handguns, things like that. They always tend to work, so I don't see them as something that breaks down a lot. Maybe with different brands, I guess, possibly, but I haven't needed to change anything due to it not working or working not as well for me personally. So I can't speak for you, Squib. You think some parts just wear out quicker here on U.S. made guns, or do you not see that to be your experience? Or
it just depends on how you use it. There's some people out there that just go bang away, and they'll shoot thousands of rounds in a year, and they'll put the wear and tear on it. And then other people, it sits in the safe. So, for me, it's something I consider when I make a purchase, unless it's a situation like what we've got right now, where you really have no choice. Now, Walter Davis says this one isn't a Hill Mag release. That is the S, and you're right. That's the S model. And then he says it's U.S. Mill. Walter Davis, if you're buying a U.S. military surplus M9, I'd walk away because it's stolen. Okay, there are no U.S. military surplus M9s available for sale to the civilian market legally. So, are you sure we're talking about the same gun? There's a lot of people that are like, oh, they got the new M17, so all the M9s are going to be of it. No, the M9s are going to sit in warehouses for decades before they maybe don't go, up for sale. That you don't just change out the standard service sidearm in a year or two. It takes a long time before you get them all the way through the reserves and everything else. And even then, you put the stuff in warehouses because you might be issuing it out at a later point. This isn't something where it just goes right into circulation. And even then, like with the current administration, there's no way they'd release M9s for sale because it's an assault pistol because it's got a 15-round standard magazine, right? So yeah.
I don't know. I like the Berettas. I'd consider owning one. Whenever I think of one, I know a lot of people always think military. I always think Lethal Weapon. I don't know why, but maybe it's the time frame or something for me or whatnot. But yeah, they dependable, proven track record gun. Would probably prefer one of those over a Glock.
Yeah, I like my M9. The one in Lethal in the first movie was an FS with a 2-dot sight, and that's the same as the original M9s, except the grip panels were different on the military ones. Otherwise, it had the 2-dot sight, et cetera, and they had different variants of the M9 at a later point after I got out. But yeah, it's just an FS.
I need to go over to Nighthawks.
Yeah, Walter Davis, I think we're talking about two different guns. I don't think this is a surplus U.S. military issue M9 sidearm. I just, yeah. It can be an M9. It could be, I have an M9. It's got a civilian serial number. It has national stock numbers marked on it and everything else because it's a limited edition reproduction of the M9 back before it was a standard thing for Beretta to sell them. So it looks like an M9. It doesn't have a government serial number. So if you're talking something like that, yeah. But if you're talking about, no, this is something that an MP carried since 1985, I'm going to question how somebody got a hold of that to sell it because they're not the Department of Defense is not, they're not selling those.
Yo. Lethal Weapon impressions. Should be good. Welcome, Kingpin. You're late, so we're sending you the bill. We all went out to dinner, and yeah, bill's being mailed to you now, Kingpin. Yeah, I don't know much about the Berettas, unfortunately.
I think he's talking about a police trade-in. I don't think he's talking about a military issue one.
Well, I'm sure it's going to get lost then, Kingpin. Yeah, he might not be. I don't know.
I just went to Atlantic Firearms. They're sold out, but they're American-made Beretta 92 U.S. surplus pistols are police trade-ins, like what LAPD used to carry. Okay, that yeah, sure, that's a 92 FS, which is the same as an M9, but it's not a U.S. military issue M9. If that's what you're talking about. Yeah, in which case, if you can get a police trade in, sure, but I'd still try to look for a deal. 700 still seems a little steep. I mean, let's see, this one only comes with one magazine. So I mean, like if it came with a case and a couple of mags, and even then, I'd still 700 kind of steep.
700.
Yeah, it's kind of steep.
Oof. Yeah, it might be due to the times for state, but I can recall seeing brand new at my shop for like $700 for a Beretta stainless steel. I believe it was seven and change, but brand new. I think with two magazines in the case, all the paperwork, everything. So I've thought about it a couple times, honestly. Of course, time's lapse. I don't know if that's still there or anything like that, or if that's normal or what. But normally things are priced a little high in New York. So if it was say 780 or something here, I'd expect it probably to be like 680 or something somewhere else. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm off on prices, something like that. But I know I can recall seeing brand new in the 700-ish range. Maybe, I don't know. What do you know on that, Squib?
Sorry, I was typing and reading, and I just zoned out.
No problem.
Yeah.
Your knowledge, what's a good price for a new Beretta?
Oh boy. Pre Chinese virus, pre election fraud, pre burning down Portland, and every cop is out to get us. I want to say between $700 and $900. But once it's, in my opinion, once you start shooting it, you start depreciating. One thing is the slides have got a lifespan. Like original DoD testing back in the 80s, the slides between 30 and 40,000 rounds, they'd start to get cracks in them. So, when I think of a used one, I'm thinking something that's kind of worn out. It's serviceable, it'll work, but you're gonna have to put a little love into it. I mean, if this thing was only shot a few times and stored, that's different. But yeah, I mean, I bought mine 21 years ago, so the prices were different then. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be concerned. I'd look into that personally. Maybe DoD testing on that. If that is the case, where so many rounds through you're getting cracks in the slide and stuff, then if you're really still interested in that, it might be worth it to you to buy new, or the, what do they call that? The Brigadier or something, where they beefed up the slide. I'm not sure what they call that there. Maybe Squib knows. I don't know.
No, I don't know if the Brigadier or the Inox they have a beefed up slide or whatnot. But if it's a police trade-in, it's not going to have a lot. It'll have holster wear, but I don't think it's going to have a lot of rounds through it. If it were a government surplus gun, then it's going to have some wear and tear. I mean, I remember the 1911s that we still had when I was in the early 90s, and those things just rattled. They worked, they ran, but they rattled because these things were so old and beat up.
Yeah, a lot of military firearms are.
Okay, Nighthawk Medic saying they're $650. All right, that's a more. All right, yeah, I have one, so I haven't priced one. So, I mean, I've seen some. I mean, I shouldn't say I haven't priced one recently. I might, if I'm at the gun store, just what are they going for? But mine was not something that they're making currently, so it kind of fits a different kind of. It's not an apples oranges to oranges comparison. But all right, $650. That seems fair. I mean, it's more expensive than a Glock, but it's a better gun.
Yeah, well, I think you're getting. Yeah, basically. I mean, I don't want to upset somebody, but a better gun in the fact that, I mean, at least it's an all steel gun, all metal gun, more durable. I mean, honestly, if you're a pimp and you want to slap somebody with it, you'd choose a Beretta over a Glock. It's just how we go. Plus, it'd look better with pearly handles. Not that I've considered this, and no, I'm not a pimp, but if I was a pimp, I'd probably get one. The fuzzy hat, the pearl handles, little gold levers. I mean, they're just badass looking. But all in all, I just think they'll take physically more of a beating. Can you put more rounds in a Glock? That's not. I mean, you can go on and on, whatever. But as far as like classier barbecue gun or something like that, it just seems like more of a quality item to me. So I personally wouldn't have any qualms paying a couple $100 more in a Glock, honestly, to own a nice one.
If I were in the market for a second one, I'd get the Taurus PT92. I'd really like to do a head-to-head comparison, and with the Taurus, if I beat it up a little bit, I really wouldn't care. Kingpin's talking about the Taurus PT100. So is that just like the PT92? It's 9mm. It's made on the old Beretta tooling, et cetera, et cetera.
I have no idea. I'm sure he'll comment, but I mean that could be the way to go too, in a sense, or have your Beretta for whatever. You know what I mean? Your baseline, I guess, and maybe pick up one of these Tauruses to carry on a day to day. So if you're getting it scuffed up or brushing it on stuff, whatever. I'm not sure how it's worked out for Kingpin. From what I've heard, they run good. So, and I know there's mixed things with Taurus. I don't own any. Personally, again, I'm a U.S. guy in a sense, and I know some of their stuff maybe from the U.S. or whatever. I don't knock their guns. I think if you get a working one, it's great. I'd actually look into buying one in the future, but again, nothing is as cheap for me here as it is for everybody else. So by the time I'm looking at it, I'm like, oof, I can throw on a little more and buy something, what I mean, buy a Glock or whatever the case is. Not that I'm looking at a Glock, um, but something like that, the, I guess, poor man's Beretta might be a, decent way to go, especially if you're going to carry it.
Yeah. All right. Rich says it's the equivalent of the Beretta Model 96, which is a 40 Smith & Wesson. And I don't know about running 40 in a gun that's on a 9mm frame. I mean, running 40 in a gun that was, built 10mm 45. Yeah, but building up, I don't know. I'm not saying it doesn't run. I mean, obviously they've been selling these things for decades. They must work. They must run. But yeah, I think I'd be more interested in the PT92. But I wouldn't hesitate to take a PT100 shooting. Meet somebody at the range, try it out.
Is that a hint? Yeah. Yeah, I just think all in all, it's overall a fairly good design. There's aftermarket parts everywhere. If you're not like a collector like Jason, in a sense, standard stuff, I think you can get a lot of as far as parts and holsters and things like that for Berettas or the knockoff clones, whatever you want to say, poor man's. And to me, I just think they're a decent investment. And if you look at longevity, a lot of people will say the plastic's going to get brittle after so long, and this and that, as far as like heirlooms and things. And as new as it may be, it's hard to say. I mean, people do studies and things and try to age things and whatnot, but if that's the case, it's going to suck. If our generation hands down firearms that end up, being unsafe to use in 100 years or something like that because of the polymers we had today that were so good turned out to be shit. Like everything we see on the TV with a recall for some reason. If that turns out to be the case, that's kind of a shitty deal where something like that, Beretta or something all steel, obviously bypasses that and would be around a lot longer. So I guess we're yet to see with the plastics or whatnot. So I know plastic in general, they say lasts forever, but these are polymer mixtures. So how are they really going to hold up long term? I mean, shit, look at a dashboard on a 30-year-old car. I hope that is not what a handgun's going to look like in 30 years. So we'll see how it goes. see. All my guns are antique, so I don't use them. That kind of sucks. It's cool, but sucks to, in my opinion, would suck to spend big money on something just to look at it. See it as an investment, things like that. I guess if you got it, why not? But shoot, I get a new gun. I'm just, you'd lose money if you made a bet that I wasn't going to go shoot it that day. Usually, so it has happened, but it's pretty rare. But it would be nice, I guess. Anything you like, buy a couple of. So you always got a backup and one for collectible purposes or whatever. I personally don't have any antique guns. Don't have that type of money that's disposable in a sense you could state. Although I know it, would be seen as an investment, most likely not disposable income. But basically, I haven't gotten to that point. I know Squib's kind of a borderline collector, so
a functional collector. I'll shoot them, but I don't go out and abuse them. I mean, probably the most abuse you would see me put on one of my milsurps is taking it deer hunting. But even then, I'm not necessarily beating and banging this. I mean, they're already, nicked and scratched and a little bit of rust and a little bit of pitting and a little bit. They're absolutely serviceable. I don't have anything that's milsurp that's in pristine condition, and that's fine. I kind of like the wear and tear on it. It tells a story and whatnot. And I try to keep as many originals as I can. But sometimes you've got to go with aftermarket reproductions. But I don't have anything that it's like, oh man, I can never shoot this. I have some that I have never shot. I just haven't got around to it, one of these days. But I don't have anything that I don't shoot because I don't want to ruin its value. I just, I don't shoot it for one reason or another. But they all function. And for some people, they buy the milsurp not for collecting at all. It's because it's the cheapest gun on the rack. It's the cheapest gun at the gun show. Back in the day when you could buy Mosins all day long for under $100, people were buying, and the spam cans were, I can't even remember how cheap they were. They were just buying those and going out and shooting them just to have something to shoot. Just the money in my pocket, I could get hundreds of rounds and a rifle, and I'm out the door. And they're going down to the range and just, blasting away and whatever. Well, those days are gone with that gun. Right now, there's a lot of Carcanos on the market. And people might go, oh, hey, I'll just get one of those Carcanos. I mean, you're talking about with shipping everything, $250, $300. Yeah, try to find the ammo right now. It's really hard to find. The reload dies keep going in and out of stock. There's only 2 companies making brass for it. There's only 1 company making bullets for it. Even if you do get one that's in pretty good shape, price some of the replacement parts for it if something is cracked or missing or broken or rusted I think suddenly that $250, $300 gun is now a liability. I mean, for an example, 20 rounds of the good stuff for that Carcano is $60 a box right now when you can find it. So you're going to pay $3 every time you pull the trigger on that Carcano if you want the good stuff. You're going to pay $2 if you just want the average stuff. So it's something to consider when you're looking at this going, oh man, this gun is so cheap. Yeah, there's more to it than that.
Yeah. Usually I always, if something seems too cheap, I'm searching for the catch. Like, wait a minute, well, what's the catch? What's the catch? It just something like that. I could see you buying it and then going to pick some ammo up and being like, oh shit, like, oh, there's the catch. It's a shitty deal. Too much for my taste, I can tell you that. If I'm paying dollars a rounds, I want to be able to take out equipment and vehicles. I want to get rounds I'm probably not even able to get legally, but that's a whole nother story. So Other than that, I'll stay down to the cheaper stuff. Apparently, they shoot great when you can afford them or afford to shoot it. But yeah, figure we're getting there, so probably start trying to wrap this thing up. I do appreciate you coming in to help me out here, Squib. So link out to some other people I see out there that didn't want to get involved. They're playing shy, hiding out in the chat, but you know, they don't want no responsibilities from when Rick comes back and starts trying to whoop some ass, I guess. So basically figure I know G23 is coming up here. I thought it was 5. I've been told it's 6. So we got about 27 minutes or something, but figure jump off, be able to use the bathroom, get a fresh coffee and whatnot before I head over there. I assume, from what I can tell, most of you people I tend to see over there too, so probably catch you there, fellas. And just want to thank everybody for coming by. Do appreciate it. No, it was last minute and late. Looked like I think I hit up about 18 people here, so that's good for little old me. Hopefully, Rick's might be a little entertainment for anybody that was looking for Rick stuff. You got anything you want to add or throw in there, Squib, on anything, or?
Nah.
All right, well, this was the fill-in show for Rick's. It started an hour late and wasn't as good. So thanks for sticking with us, folks. Basically, I'll just wrap it up then. If you're unaware, go check out Squibload. He's got some stuff up there. He's always talking crap about something, so check out his channel. We got Defense Dad out there has a channel if anybody's unaware. Apparently pretty good. Does a lot of videos. Rich White, you know, that guy, I don't know, he dodges people. I don't know about him. Kingpin, Mystic joined us. We got Walter. So, yeah, fraternize amongst each other, folks, politely. And always use protection. But other than that, I'm going to head on out of here. It's been a mac and cheese life here for Rick. And please hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, if you thought it was bearable. If you didn't get sick listening to it. Maybe you got some 22 love and you're going to get out the house and go play. And that'd be a good thing. So I'll just wrap it up since I'm rambling. But thanks for joining us, folks.